going to show a chart. I'll do a screen chart. Try to see it a little better than this. But everyone, I'm sure a lot of people have seen this nowadays. I don't know if I can get it, but I'm going to show it. I'm just going to show it on screen also. But this is showing what kind of the amount of groceries could be purchased back in 1982, 2002, and 2022 with a $20 Federal Reserve note, $20 bill, whether that's digits or this paper bill here. And I think they're calling it Bidenflation because of Joe Biden, whatever. They can call it whatever they want, but the fact of the matter is we've been inflating ever since the Federal Reserve was enacted in 1913. And that means the money, the currency, has been inflating, so it's becoming worth less and less. So it has less purchasing power over the years. So since 1913, boom, over 100 years it's been, the currency supply has been inflating, so everything's been costing more and more. If you look to it at a dollar, how much did it cost for a Federal Reserve note? How much are these in dollars? They keep rising for the most part because of how much more currency is out there. So I just did this thing, and I'll put it on screen so you can read it a little better. As I'm looking at this now, you really can't read it. I'll read it to you. But this is showing if 1964, if you got that $20 in two rolls of quarters, okay, $20 the quarters, 1964. And then you had that same roll of quarters in 1994, and that same roll of quarters this year, 2022. And why I did this is because 1964 is when they took, there was a last year that had 90% silver in all the coinage. And then 65 started, they took all the silver out of the coinage. So that made these rolls of quarters have no silver in them whatsoever, zero. And why they do that? A whole bunch of other things. It's enough for a whole video itself. But because I'm saying that as the government was fearing, people were hoarding silver, as they called it, hoarding. So every time stuff would be printed, newly printed silver, dimes and quarters, people were grabbing them and taking them, and changing in their paper currency for the newest minted silver currency that was out there, because it was all 90% silver. So they put an end to that. So if you hold on to those same two rolls, I have here, it says 2 rolls of 1964 and older quarters. Right here. All right? So you can buy all that with those 2 rolls of quarters. And then in 1994, I have 1994, the silver value, 90% silver value of these roll of quarters, 2 roll of quarters, 1964 and older, comes to somewhere around $164. Melt value is what it has. And then those same 2 roll of quarters, if you held on to them, in 2022, silver value would be roughly around, it fluctuates, $360 for the same 2 rolls of quarters that you had back here in 1964. So, in essence, you could buy roughly the same amount of groceries year over year over year, decade over decade over decade, with those same 2 rolls of quarters. Not the same $20 bill. So this $20 bill is going to buy the same amount of stuff as this? No, it's not going to happen in 2022. This $20 bill here from 1982 is going to buy you about this much stuff here. All right? These rolls of quarters from 1964, these rolls of quarters are going to buy you this, roughly this many groceries in a grocery cart. Now, 2022, the same 2 rolls of quarters, 1964 and older, the melt value could get you roughly the same amount of groceries shown right here, 2022. Why is that? Why is that? If I can stack them. Why is that? That the $20 bill buys you nothing year over year over year as those 64 and older quarters did year over year over year, if you hold on to them. Why is that? Well, because of the melt value of the silver. Silver is not only a monetary metal like gold, it's also an industrial metal. It always has a want, it always has a need. It's used everywhere. It's used, not everywhere, but it's used a lot of places. It's used electric vehicles, it's used in solar panels, it's used in tons of electronics. It's used in vehicles. It's used all over, across the board. Silver is high demand. So not only monetary essence to it, it's got real use and it's used all the time. And it's always got this need and this want and this desire to have. Hence, it holds value and it increases in value. And I say that without wanting to say that because it increases in value. Not really. It holds value. But compared to the Federal Reserve note and paper dollars all over the world, it looks as though it increases in value, even though it has the same amount of value that it has decade after decade after decade. It's the paper that has just lost the value. So silver has not gained value. This is just losing the value. So what this could buy you in 1982 to today are two totally different things. This is not worth anything compared to what it was in 1982, let alone 1964, let alone 1944, let alone 1924. And this is going away. It's going away. Whether it's digits in your bank account or not, or this paper, same thing. It's going away. The value is going away. It's rolling away. They're taking it away. And this here, I've showed this at the end of the video before, not too long ago. The $20 paper bill, paper dollar, is no different. And I'm going to go through some of these. Then this $100 trillion bill from Zimbabwe. It's worth nothing. Well, you may have some collector value, a few bucks you can find on eBay, maybe even more than that, because it's a $100 trillion bill. I mean, for heaven's sake. It's worth nothing. It's worth nothing. And then I got here, bear with me, I got a couple paper bills from Venezuela that aren't worth a thing. They're worth nothing. They have no value to them whatsoever. They did at one time. Same with that $100 trillion bill. They did at one time. They don't anymore. Here's this is from Argentina. Paper bill that has absolutely no value to it, no matter how fancy they want to make it. No value. Here's another thing. I believe this is from Iraq. No value. Zero. Zilch. This is, you'll see this, that's, you know that guy. Zero value to it whatsoever. It had value at one time. Zero value to it now. Russian ruble paper. No value whatsoever. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nada. And here's a couple. I forget. This is Yugoslavia. These two. No value. Nothing. They had value one time. Now they're worthless. These have zero value to them. Nothing. This is from the Weimar Republic. No value. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Not a thing. There's more from the same place. Yugoslavia. No value. Nothing. It won't be long until we're saying this about that. Same thing about this. It's going to be no value. Nothing. Zero. No one wants. No one wants these, or the digits that represent them. They're going to be worthless. Nothing. The only way they're going to have any value to them is if you're forced to use them for transactions, which it's going to happen. Just like you're forced to use these things for transactions. Paper, digits that represent this paper, whatever, same thing. You're forced to pay your taxes, forced to pay government fees, to pay X, Y, Z through the government. You're forced to. You're forced, well, your employer's forced to pay out in that kind of stuff. If you're an employer, you're forced to pay your employees out in that stuff. It's just how it goes. You're forced to. So they're going to continue to force this. And they're going to get rid of the paper. They're going to get rid of calling it dollars. Maybe Federal Reserve note is going to be going away. They're going to call it something else. They're probably still keep it similar so people are not shocked. And they have no want or need to revolt if they don't understand what's going on. Just that they know something's really different. So they're not going to do it so it's really different. They're going to do it just so it's slightly different. Slightly different, but better for your sake, for your health, for your protection. It's better for you. As always, they sell it. So I'm just saying this stuff to get people to realize that's where we're at. So right now, any of this paper stuff, I'm going to try to grab some of it here. Any of these paper things. Any of them. I'm still grabbing more. You cannot buy property, you cannot buy land, you cannot buy gold, silver, you can't buy anything with these. Nothing with these at all. No assets. Nothing. You can't buy it. Right now, you still can with this. You still can with this. And the digits that represent this, and I say that slight, because the digits don't really represent this, but they still sort of are supposed to. You can still buy gold and silver with this right now. If you have gold and silver, it's not going to lose value. Like this is continuing to lose value as I hold it right now. By the official numbers, 7.9% inflation. 7.9% inflation. This is losing now. And it just lost more. And it continues to lose more. It continues to lose more. More and more. I talk. Every second goes by. It continues to lose more and more and more. That's just, and that's their numbers. That's the official numbers. Really, in all actuality, if you go out, you shop, you go to grocery stores, you buy a vehicle, you pay for gas, you do anything, you know it's well around 20%. At least. In some circumstances, it's way higher. You know that for a fact. And if we used 1980s numbers before they changed them, the CPI, the price index, it would be equate probably 15-16%. I think that's where the numbers are right now, to under their numbers of what inflation is. And that still was hokey. That still was, forced. That still was not absolute correct, because they still fudged the numbers back then. Just not as big as when they flipped the switch and really changed them back then to how the numbers that we go through nowadays. So I'm just saying this stuff to get people to realize, not telling you what to do, not giving you advice. What I do with these is I buy gold and silver. What I do with these, I try to purchase land. What I do with these, I try to purchase assets. I try to purchase ammunition. I try to purchase firearms. I try to purchase stuff. I try to purchase stuff for the garden. I try to purchase tools. I try to purchase real things that have real use cases, real things you can use to do what needs to be done to survive, and people are going to need and want. And that's not going to lose value. You can still use digits in this paper I showed you. Just this paper. Not all other paper I showed you. Just this paper. You can still buy that. Because there will come a time it's going digital. That's what they want. That's what they've been trying. I said this in early 2020. Everyone has a Fed account. Everyone has a Fed account now. Everybody has a Fed account. They put that in 2020. I believe their date to have it done by was April of 2020. That happened. So right now you have a Fed account. Whether you know it or not, you do. And that's going to be part of the transition. When they're going to switch it, flop it, whatever you want to call it, there's going to be no more Federal Reserve note. They might call it that still, or Federal Reserve digit or something, just to make it still familiar, like I said, but it's not going to be the same. They're going to track you. They're going to be able to control how much you spend, where you spend it, how much you spend it on. I mean, look over what's going on, with Russia and that whole debacle. I mean, they're implementing digital currency there now. And it's something like, Jeepers, Mike from Rethinking the Dollar did a great video on this, going over where you have, I think it was 4 months to spend this currency, these digits, or they expire. They're no longer there. They're no longer useful. And there were stipulations of what you can spend it on. You can spend it on food, or a certain kind of food, or a certain amount, or a certain kind of food wasn't allowed. You could spend it on something bill-wise and a few other things, but you couldn't spend it on whatever you want. You can spend however much you wanted and then whatever you wanted. And that's where we're going. So if you don't have assets, you don't have gold and silver, gold or silver, if you don't have something that to help yourself and your family survive and get through this and barter with, it's going to turn into that. Absolutely, it's going to turn into that. If you don't have something like that, you're stuck. You're stuck with them telling you what you can and can't do. By them, I'm saying governments, I'm saying politicians, I'm saying order followers, I'm saying all the people that work for them, all the people that have jobs for, the governments, all the people who maybe sweep floors for a government agency. They're an order follower. That's them. They're not going along with all this stuff, but they're not stopping it, and they're helping it move further. By sweeping floors? Absolutely. Because they're doing stuff for them. They're helping them. Yeah, are they getting paid? Are they making a wage? Absolutely. But they could be doing that somewhere else. They could be doing that for someone else. Can they make a call now and change into a private sector? It's not that fast, it's not that easy, but you can. It takes a little bit of time. But the more order followers work for the government, the more power they're going to have, the more power they're going to grab, the more control they're going to take from you, and the tougher it's going to be on everybody, especially the poorest among us. They're the ones that suffer most. And they say, vote for this person because they're going to help the poor. That's nothing but, bells and whistles. That's all it is. It's complete lies to get votes, to get people to shut up, get people to go along, to get along. That's it, period. Nothing more. They're lying because their mouth is moving. You've heard that before. Anyways, I didn't mean to make this real long. I'll put those when I'm talking on the screen so you can see them a little better than I was just holding them up. Like I said, sorry that you can't really make out some of the words on the top. I read it for you. Here, I'll say again on this one, the one with the 2 rows of quarters. Above 1964, it says 2 rows of 1964 and older quarters. They're all 90% silver. That's what this says. The other one is 1994 silver value of this 90% silver is $164. This one here above 2022 is 2022 silver value of these quarters that are 1964 or older with a content of 90% silver. And the value is $360, roughly, like I said, give or take. It's always fluctuating. So like I said, I'm saying this stuff, and you got to think about it. Gold and silver are recognized around the world. If you have 1 ounce gold coin, 1 ounce gold maple leaf, gold eagle, 1 ounce gold buffalo, 1 ounce gold Krugerrand, whatever, 1 ounce gold coin, that is recognized all across the world, all over the world. People will accept it for the value that it's at. And whether that's just melt value, just gold melt value, the $1,900, the $1,930 or $1,940, whatever we're at right now, an ounce, okay, that so be it. That's fine. It holds value all around the world. You know what still does this right now, but it's becoming less and less because less and less people are accepting this because they know how much of a Ponzi scheme and farce this is. This isn't going to be accepted all over the world. It's not accepted all over the world anymore. It's not going to be accepted as far and as wide as it is right now anymore. It's going down, and it's going down fast right now as we speak. I've talked about this for a couple of years, but it's happening right now. It's happening. You see it. All these other things, these are not recognized all over the world. These are not recognized at any country. These are not accepted at any country. These are not worth a thing anywhere around the world. But gold and silver are. So think about that. You don't want to be saving on that paper. You don't want to be saving on those digits. If you want to be saving, you're not saving to grow. You're saving to protect. You're saving to keep what you have and preserve your wealth. I hope this wasn't too long for you. I'm trying to get this explained best I can. But anyways, if you enjoyed this, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. And stay vigilant. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your wealth, and